Tonight on Online Oddities, we discuss a horrific 1980s fever dream, a disturbing Instagram account, and one Redditor's experience with a mysterious hooded stalker. One very similar to the creeps out there who are probably trying to steal your identity and credit card info online. With that said, this video was made possible by NordVPN, and in case you missed it before, NordVPN is still offering 75% off a 3-year plan to my viewers who head over to nordvpn.com/ReignBot. That's just $2.99 per month. And of course, you also get one additional month for free with promo code ReignBot. But this offer is actually ending in the coming weeks, so if you want to keep yourself protected while at home, work, or even travel, or if you just don't like the Netflix selection in your region, then again, head over to nordvpn.com/ReignBot and use promo code ReignBot for an extra month absolutely free. Our first story comes to us from a Reddit user who claims to have been experiencing regular visits from a complete stranger in the dead of night. Originally, the user, QuickDisk, posted to r/urban myths, but had his post removed due to moderators deciding that his entries weren't a proper fit for the subreddit. More specifically, they chalked up his story to being more of a let's not meet encounter with a creepy neighbor, rather than something supernatural. QuickDisk decided to create a master post of the deleted entries, one that offered up a clear overview and timeline of his seemingly brief but definitely bone-chilling encounter. Our first entry is dated April 15th. The user explains that what he's about to describe has been going on for the last few weeks, specifically late at night when he's usually awake due to his irregular work schedule. A photo is also provided. One night at around 4 a.m., this girl shows up outside my window. It took me God knows how long to notice her standing there because I was glued to the TV, but I catch her staring at me through the window. It startled me so hard because her features were completely abnormal. She was freakishly skinny with exaggerated facial features, and her body was contorted and twisted in a way that really disturbed me. She looked like a car crash victim. I wasn't even sure if she was still breathing until she ran away from the window. The user closes this entry by telling us that the photo you see here is the only decent one he managed to capture. Most other times the girl made a run for it before he could do much. He also notes trying to talk to authorities who, as expected in this scenario, weren't much help. Entry 2, April 19th. By this point, the user seems much more alarmed, unconvinced that what he's dealing with is a simple case of substance abuse, as suggested to him by the majority of those commenting on the situation. He states that his reasoning has to do with the girl's recent condition. He explains, "Her jaw is now completely unhinged, hanging wide open to an unnatural degree. I also noticed her wrist is fractured, deformed into an abnormal shape. She's been getting closer to my window, too. I took the photo above as she was turning to run away. I'm not convinced that this is paranormal, but I'm definitely sure now that this isn't just an addict. As of typing this, I just placed an order for an outdoor surveillance camera off Amazon, so I'm hoping to get more evidence for police and whoever else can help me." Before we move on to the next entry, I need to add a bit of context. In the introduction to the master post, the user reiterates his circumstances, but also adds that YouTuber Fantastic Daily had made a video pertaining to a situation. That video, along with the entire Fantastic Daily channel, now no longer exists due to a rebranding. With that said, the next entry claims to be an excerpt from an email with the channel. The user leads by explaining that he'd experienced something that he hadn't posted about publicly yet. He'd been up late, as usual, this time waiting for the girl to show up, even going as far as to leave the lights on outside and having his camera ready. Unexpectedly, the user began to hear tapping in a different area of the house, a window near the back door. The tapping, described as rapid, lasted for around 30 seconds. The user found himself unable to react out of sheer fear. He closes the message by saying, "Email me again if you have any more questions or potentially some answers. The other day I went to the sheriff's department and they told me they're going to look into it and are going to question the neighbors. I believe they're leading with the addict theory despite the near impossibilities I described to them. I will give you updates if anything more develops." May 5th, final entry. The user explains that after the last experience, the nighttime visits have been less and less frequent, causing the police department to lose interest in his case. He closes the post by saying, "As her visits go on, she seems to be more and more infatuated with me, instead of just standing in my yard like she used to. When she comes, she's very close to my doors or windows. This thought keeps me awake, and my hours of sleep have been dwindling. The next time she shows up, though, I am prepared to get some better evidence." Again, this final entry was May 5th, and so far no other updates have been made. We can probably just assume that either the girl had stopped visiting or the user no longer felt that posting about it was helpful. Either way, there's no way to know for certain unless the user pops up again, and if he does, I'll gladly provide updates and a deeper analysis of the situation.
I bite at the hand that feeds me, slap at the face that eats me. Some kind of animal cannibal. Animal cannibal.
Possibly in Michigan is a bizarre musical short horror film uploaded to YouTube in July of 2018. The piece, lasting 11 minutes long, follows two women, Sharon and Janice, as they shop in their local mall. It's quickly brought to our attention that we aren't the only ones following these women.
Here it is. There's my favorite perfume we've been looking for everywhere. Why don't you buy one for me too, and I'll meet you at the door. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The stalker, Arthur, has the head of a mannequin and a gaping expression frozen permanently onto his face. The narrator explains that Arthur, Janice, and Sharon all share two things in common: violence and perfume. After a bit more shopping around, Janice catches Arthur and quickly alerts Sharon. The two make a break for it.
Kind of animal cannibal. Made impressions on me. Have we met before?
Possibly in Michigan.
In some strange department store.
We won't see him anymore.
Who knows how some people turn to strange ones?
Following this, Sharon and Janice arrive home, seemingly unaware of Arthur looming in the background. This is where I'm going to stop as to not spoil the entire story. If you want to watch the whole video, then the link will be provided below. While you're at it, check out the entire channel, as it belongs to artist Cecilia Condit, who's been making this stuff since the early 80s, and her channel, of course, features more. Before we hop over to our last entry for tonight, here's a mini bonus feature brought to you by Mundane Memoirs. His channel will also be linked along with everything else down below.
In a world of creative online horror and surreal imagery, there's one name I've found to be a recurring source of entertainment. The works of the artist John Clayton and his delightfully dark imagery is something I came across about a year back in one of his best pieces, Schism. The 8.5-minute short is entirely animated in stunning detail, accompanied by haunting music and grungy industrial sound effects for quite the spectacle. The video follows a man named Kevin and his alter ego of sorts. In the real world, the man is suffering from intimacy issues with his boyfriend. In the other world, his alter ego attempts to reunite him with his lover, represented by a statue held just out of reach. The alter ego is held prisoner in a world of flesh, jagged spines, and rusted lockers, all the while watched over by the Warden, a large amalgamate beast of human body parts. Every aspect of this hell is a visual representation of the imposed chains Kevin has forced upon himself. Also associated with the 4 real chains located on the statue of his boyfriend. We bounce back and forth from shots of the real world Kevin and the events leading up to the current situation, and the other world where the alter ego is doing everything in its power to break its self-imposed restraints. Each broken restraint has a large impact on the nightmare world around them. As the chains on the statue break and the large pod the alter ego had been confined in tears open, The warden attacks and becomes merged with Kevin's alter ego, resulting in the two being engulfed in a mass of flesh. The lockers rise into the air, and from within them releases a waterfall of tears. Now, what happens in the last segment is up to debate, but within the mass of flesh, Kevin's alter ego manages to get hold of the statue of his lover. The final chain breaks, and everything changes. The pod releases a massive mushroom-like construct with an orb held aloft it. The darkness lifts, and the falling tears begin to bring life to the land around them. Within the orb, a strange mass of meat lies silent. Perhaps the two men's alter egos inseparable at last? The piece sits with barely 6,000 views after a year and a half of being on YouTube. The artist continues to upload interesting shorts and work-in-progress videos on art pieces he's commissioned to make. This has been the Mundane Memoirs Broadcast Hijack. Back to your normally scheduled content.
Wetbox is an Instagram account that's actually been around for quite a while now, despite this being the first time I'm talking about it here on the channel. And while I could do a whole video discussing it, for now I think an introduction will do just fine. The account, which was mostly active in 2015 and 2016, primarily features this. A man wearing a beastly mask with wide eyes, long dark hair, and an open mouth bearing sharp teeth. Over a certain amount of time, the account began to feature new characters, the most prominent of which being a woman wearing the same mask. Upon her first appearance, the woman appears to be bound, but as time went on, her involvement became more and more seemingly voluntary, at one point dancing freely in what appeared to be a basement while once again donning the mask. At other points, we do see things aside from the man and woman, like this hospital, for example. We also see photos and videos of things like a graveyard, a blow-up doll the man calls Rosemary, regular baby dolls, and various insects, one of which that's placed into a tiny coffin. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know for sure what this account is trying to do or say. It's obviously art, but aside from that I can't say much about its storyline, if any, or the exact intent. What I can say, however, is that it's definitely creepy, which is something that not everything like this is able to achieve. So at the very least, it's got that element of things definitely on lockdown. Like I said, the account was mostly active between 2015 and 16, but it has been posting this year, and I'm honestly excited to see where it goes. As usual, if you guys have any ideas, theories, etc. that you'd like me to address when it comes to this, or maybe even the first story, then feel free to tweet me. Before I go, thank you so much to Patreon supporters Matt, Danielle, and Mark, along with anyone else who supports me there or wherever else. And of course, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.